Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting live from my little cabin in the woods, Murphy's Law. And we're here tonight with somebody that's got a big reveal for us. She's a Pulpwood Queen author, and she's been gone for some.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
No, maybe I should have made a frozen pie. I think people are watching now, right? Or are we just recording?
We're recording and then Kathy posts it live after.
Okay, so there's no audience right now. Is that true?
Yeah, from what I know, there is no, it's just a Zoom recording that she does, and then she posts it on the YouTube channel after.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a webinar kind of thing where there's like other people watching right now. So, okay. Because I was thinking maybe we should just keep going.
I know, I was wondering about that too, but um, yeah, she's still frozen. Do you want
Right?
to message her or should I?
Yeah, I'll just send her. Well, what? And then she needs to like maybe start it again, but this is not going to work if it keeps
She keeps
going out
losing
like
internet.
that.
Yeah, she keeps losing internet.
Yeah. Send her a message. See what happens. Oh, well, we'll pretend. So maybe I'll just keep talking about pie. I have a pie here that's sort of melting,
All
actually.
right, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
making a pie. I did make a pie, and I'm going to talk about the particular special Pulpwood Queen pie that I invented. So I am going to talk about that.
Okay.
There are not
Amy,
caveats.
tell us, how is this pie different from your normal other pies?
Well, this is a pie that I actually was inspired about and inspired to do because Kathy asked me to invent a pie for the Pulpwood Queens. And I was trying to come up with something, trying this was several weeks ago. And I kept coming up with everything. It was kind of cliche, like I already have a margarita a pie. And so I was thinking of something with a cocktail. And she said, I think there's a Pulpwood Queen cocktail. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try to make something that's like the Pulpwood Queen cocktail, or maybe like a Cosmo pie, right? Or something which would be like cranberry and lime, which would be kind of cool. But it just seemed like it wasn't special enough, for the Pulpwood Queens.
Right. So you wanted to go the extra mile.
So today I have this other like a writer, you get inspired and you don't know where the ideas come from, but they just show up when they show up. And I was actually doing research for this essay collection that I'm working on this fall. And so I'm doing research on the history of pie. And I came across this story about Cleopatra and how Cleopatra, well, actually, the very first pies ever started in Egypt in the first place. So that's where pie began in like like BC something, right?
Egypt?
Maybe
Really?
before that. Yeah, a long time ago. It might have been the 1500s, but Cleopatra was the BC era. So anyway, Cleopatra had this bet with Mark Antony that so I was like, okay, I need a queen, right? So Cleopatra is the queen and Egypt, and I knew Egypt was where pies began. And so I was like, well, what kind of pie would Cleopatra have eaten? So I was like, what kind of drink? Surely she drank, right? Like, surely she had a cocktail. I mean, Cleopatra. So I
Yep.
was looking up like what would Cleopatra drink? And they told that there was this story that Pliny the Elder tells about in his book about how Cleopatra had a bet with Mark Antony about having the biggest, who could have the biggest banquet, who could have the most expensive, most extravagant banquet ever. And so she said she would. And so she threw together this banquet, and it was no different at first than the one she'd thrown the night before. Wasn't that big a deal. And Mark Antony was like, well, what is she going to do for the next course? It's going to have to be really amazing if she's going to, do this bigger than ever banquet. And so she had these two pearls that she wore as earrings, and they were supposed to be the rarest and most amazing and most perfect pearls ever in the world. And they were worth whatever the Egyptian money was, sestains or something it was called. But the equivalent of today would be $25 million each pearl.
Wow.
So she had these earrings on, and she had a wine glass of vinegar served to her, and she took off one of the earrings and dropped it in the vinegar, and vinegar dissolves a pearl, and so it melted the pearl, and then she drank it. So she ate the most expensive banquet in
Oh
the
my
world.
gosh.
So I thought we should have a Cleopatra pearl pie.
Okay.
So I already knew, like in the southern world, and you may know this from where you were. Was that South Carolina or somewhere in the South, Georgia?
Yep.
Georgia, yeah. So, and I was born in Louisiana. So I think a lot of people may not have heard of this pie before, but a lot of Southerners probably have, and that's a vinegar pie. And then I thought I put a pearl on it. So, but the pearl, it's a candy pearl. So I made a vinegar pie, and then I'm going to decorate it. And then I thought it would be kind of cool to maybe like the Pulpwood Queens could do their own and post them on Instagram. I'd love to see if they post them on my Facebook or whatever, and I'd love to see their pearl pie. See if she wrote me back.
Very cool.
And does only have one bar. Hang on. Yeah, she says she only has one bar on her. Are you back? Can't hear you. You're coming.
Can't
You're
hear you,
coming in.
Kathy.
You're coming in. You're coming in. I'm gonna start drinking, Kathy, because this I'm gonna start. Here's to Zoom.
For pearls and vinegar, right?
Screw this. Let's just drink. So yeah.
And you're wearing the pearls, right? You got plenty of
Well, that's
pearls.
why I'm wearing the pearls. I told Anju about the pie. I kind of practiced on Anju about the special pie I'm making for you, Kathy. What do you think, Anju? Does it sound like a cool Pulpwood Queen?
I find it hard to believe that first of all, the story, and the second, the concept of the whole pearl and the vinegar and drinking it. It's like, wow, that's the kind of stuff fiction is real, not
Right?
real. Is it made up?
Right? Yeah, kind of like even in like the world that your stories take place in, where there's this like amazing like wealth and excess and all that. So yeah. So anyway, I think Kathy will like this pie. So because
Kathy,
we
can
were
you
being
unmute
recorded,
yourself?
Kathy, we went ahead and practiced.
Yeah.
You were gone.
You need to unmute yourself, Kathy.
You're muted. I'm sure you said something very wonderful.
It keeps going in and out. I have one bar here, and it's not just me. It's all over Northeast Texas, because at the university, it's rolling in and out all the time. I don't know what's going on, but America's in trouble if we lose the internet. But we're here tonight, everybody, with Amy Wallen with How to Write a Novel in 20 Pies. And if you saw the post where I tried to wink, I cannot wink worth a hoot. But you are a Pulpwood Queen author that's back with this new book. And I used to I was a book publisher's rep for Andrews McNeil.
Oh, really? Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, I've been to their home in New York, and I remember Mr. Andrew was it Andrew or McNeil? He took me to the big picture window, and we looked across, and he said, "See that woman scrambling eggs?" And I go, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "That's Kathleen Turner." It was in that place where John Lennon, the Dakota, it was kind of that.
Right? Yeah.
They had an elevator that went up to their house, because I wanted to see how real people lived in New York. And oh my gosh, it was pretty, but he was fun. And I used to love going to sales conference with Andrew.
Oh, that's fun.
So great publisher, and they do wonderfully illustrated books. I love everything in here, and authors they really need this book, because writers, authors, this isn't just a cookbook. It's a book on writing and everything you need to know, and you have covered everything. Amy, tell us all about how this got started.
Oh, this particular book, it came from when I was teaching. I used to teach at University of California. I taught novel writing, and the book is not just for novel writing. The title is a little bit sardonic, but I just was standing up in front of the class, and I thought, I tell these same stories about my own experiences over and over to the classroom, and they all have so many of the same similar questions that I thought I should share it. But I also, when I teach, I try to make it really fun and funny and have a good time, because it's hard. It's hard to write a novel or a memoir or a book of poetry or whatever, it's hard to bake a pie, easy as a pie, that, is a lie. And so I just decided I was going to make it a really fun, exciting book that makes you want to write, makes you excited, and that when you're having a tough time writing, you can pick this up and get it reinvigorated, have a few laughs, and at my expense. And you can also learn a little bit more. And even if you're not a writer, you can learn about what the writing journey is about, what it is for an author. If you're a reader and you want to know what writers go through to get all the way through the publishing, because it's not just the writing journey, but it's finding an agent, then what is it like trying to find an editor, and then that whole New York boardroom thing, like you were saying, and then the one day your box of books shows up and it's the wrong set of books, like mine was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And then, what happens after that, and how do you celebrate? With pie, of course. And, just on and on. I go all the way through the writing life and how to survive it. And I give away all my secrets on how to survive. And most of it is eating pie. But I did survive my first novel by baking pies, writing my first novel by baking pies specifically. And so I used that as the metaphor all the way through. And of course, there's recipes. And one of my writing buddies is an illustrator. And so he came along with me on this journey to create this book. And there's over 200 illustrations in the book. It's quite exciting and fun. All kinds of, here's the, here's your novel, really neat, little like Wheel of Fortune for your novel. And there's the pie, all the recipes.
I especially like this little guy with the head, the blue head, this
Oh,
guy,
yeah.
that is just the cutest thing I've ever seen.
He has such funny characters he created for the writer. And they kind of look like Teletubbies or something.
I don't know, they're really cute. They like where the wild things are a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a really good way of putting it. It's a lot like that. And they're fun and just, they look like pie eaters, right?
I don't know if you can see this, but I have a cat that hasn't seen me all week and it's thinking I'm talking to it and I'm talking to you guys. But what is wonderful about your book is that when I started the Pulpwood Queens in Jefferson, Texas, when I had Beauty in the Book, there was a place that had homemade pies that was Legend, the hamburger store. So every time an author would come in for book club, because they used to come to my shop and I'd do their hair and do makeovers and we'd have the book club meeting in the shop. They get in early and I go, how do you like pie? And they go, oh, I love pie. So we go have pie. And usually they walk out with 2 or 3, to take home with them. And then all of a sudden we started the Girlfriend Weekend and then we started serving pie. And now, Beth Howard has the pie book. In my first book, I put the pie recipe. And actually, your book came right after Beth's. And you've been doing an event together. But I think pie is just a wonderful, kind of expression of how we all have when we sit down and share something, a meal or a piece of pie, and have conversation. That's the best part about life is sharing a meal or sharing pie and sharing stories. So I wanted to share your story, and you've done something very special for us tonight, right?
I have, yes.
Well, do you want to talk some more about your book, or do you want to jump right in? What would you like to do?
I can share this special thing that I have.
I'm just so afraid we're going to lose the internet again.
I know, right?
All this trouble.
I'll talk really fast so that we can tell, because it's a special. You had asked me to create a pie for Pulpwood Queens, and I was thrilled to do it. And I kept coming up with ideas. Like, I already have a margarita pie in the book, so I was thinking, okay, you guys have a cocktail. I'll do some kind of cocktail kind of pie. And I thought, Cosmos, it could be like a cranberry lime pie, but everything felt kind of cliche, which is again the writing thing, right? So as a writer, I can't do cliche. So I kept trying to come up with something, and just like the writing process, I didn't know where the idea was going to come from, but I was researching, and this happens sometimes when I'm baking pie, but I was researching for this essay collection that I'm working on this fall, and it's going to be pies around the world. And so I was looking up the history of pie, and I found out that pies were the first pies were made in Egypt. And so I was like, okay, Egypt. And I was like, I don't know, like, would that be a
I
date
didn't know
pie?
that. Did you
No,
know
I
that?
didn't either. No, I thought, what, date pie or a fig pie? I was trying to think of something. And then I thought, well, I should do something that has something to do with a queen, because it's the Pulpwood Queen. So I thought, okay, what would a queen? And then I thought, oh, Egypt, Cleopatra, right? Perfect queen.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, what would Cleopatra? Surely she had a cocktail. I didn't think she probably had a pie, but she probably had a cocktail. I mean, she's Cleopatra. Clearly, she had to have a cocktail, right? And so I Googled, what was Cleopatra's, what did she like to drink? And I came up with this story, or I found this story
Oh
of
my gosh.
Cleopatra, where she actually had this bet with Mark Antony on who could have the most expensive banquet in the world. And so they were having this bet. And so she created this banquet one night, and he came. He was her guest, of course. And she created this dinner that was basically just like the night before. And he thought, well, this isn't that spectacular. And then he thought, well, I wonder what the next course will be. It's going to have to be something very, amazing to make this worth, the most expensive banquet ever. And so sure enough, she was brought out a drink, and the drink was a glass of vinegar. And she also she had in her possession, she owned the two most perfect pearls in the world. And they were worth, in what was sustains, I believe they were called in Egypt at the time, the money. And they were worth each equivalent to $25 million. So,
What?
yeah. So she took the glass of vinegar. I'm picturing it in like a cocktail glass. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Like
And she dropped, she took one of the pearls off. She was wearing them as earrings. Put them off,
no.
dropped it in the vinegar, and vinegar eats pearls and
Yeah.
dissolves.
You can't get perfume or anything on a pearl.
Right? So she dissolved the pearl, and then she drank it, and she ate. So then that was part of her banquet. And so she had the most expensive banquet ever in the world. And the guy that was the guy who the judge or whatever, who was to decide who won the bet, declared her the winner. And because he didn't want her she was about to take off the other earring, and he didn't want her to dissolve the other earring. So he stopped the bet and said she won. So I thought, you're from the South. Surely you're familiar with vinegar pie.
Yes.
And so then I found these really cool, pearl, candy things that go on. And so for decorating cakes and stuff. And so I made a vinegar pie, and I'm going to decorate it with that one pearl. And it's going to be the Cleopatra pearl pie for the.
Oh my God. I love that. I just watched a documentary on Cleopatra. And of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
that I never heard anything about. I thought pie probably started England because they did meat pies, and
Right.
it was a great way to kind of keep it encapsulated and eat. But
Yeah,
it was
called those
started in
coffins. They called it a coffin.
Oh my God. Oh my God. A coffin. Oh, that's
I
so
know,
funny.
right? I know.
So,
Kept
but
the,
so
it
have
kept the
you
meat, it
tasted,
kept the
have
meat,
you tasted
like that.
pie? Have you
Have I?
tasted?
I know, but I have it right here. I haven't decorated it yet because we were having a little technical difficulty, and I didn't want it to melt yet. And so I was going to decorate it with a little whipped cream and some little other sprinkles. And I thought, if you wanted, maybe after I show my pie, because I think it should only have one big pearl, but maybe the Pulpwood Queens would like to decorate their own their Cleopatra pearl pies, and they could do it with tiaras. They could do it, but they have to have that single one Cleopatra pearl. But they can do whatever
I
they want with it.
love it.
Because
I
the vinegar
love
pie,
it.
I think, vinegar pies are easy. So
Really? I've never made a vinegar pie,
yeah, they're
but
easy, and they're supposed to taste like lemon. I haven't had. I'm gonna taste it. I'm gonna
Really?
decorate it right now while we're sitting here.
Okay, I want to, can you show how you're decorating it? You'll have to,
I think
yeah,
I'll have to do it, and then I'll show you what I
okay.
did. Okay. Oh, I should
That's
show
so
you. I'll show you what the
interesting.
pie looks like first. So here's the. Oops.
Yeah,
Get my.
I see it. I see
Okay.
it. Oh,
Here's the vinegar
cool.
pie. It's just a custard pie, really. It has only 1 tablespoon of vinegar in it. And so it's just,
I was going vinegar pie.
and
What's
they
that?
it tastes like lemon actually. And then so I'm just gonna do this.
I love lemon. I
Yeah,
love
me
lemon.
too. And so I thought
This is taking story level to a whole new level.
But you know,
I
this is
found
what,
these little isn't that's a great little
yeah.
puzzle, but they're these little
Oh, they used to put them on Christmas
silver, so like
cookies.
they're the tiny little silver pearls like that you put on cakes and like that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna scatter a few of those around in the whipped cream, so it just has a little side something going on there. And
Man, that's cool.
that should be pretty easy. And then, but like I said, I was looking, I thought, oh, I should put like a tiara, like some other, like, let's do a pulpwood, like, what would a Cleopatra pearl pie look like? And this is my first one, but I think there's a whole lot of opportunity to make a variety of Pulpwood Queen Cleopatra pearl pies.
Maybe
So
we should have a contest.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe
Yeah,
they could even do other queens, they
know,
could decide if they want to do a Cleopatra pearl or if they want to do, Queen Victoria's pie or although
a
Queen
queenly pie. It's funny because I said, well, I feel like I'm here with royalty tonight because she's our official pie baker. So I brought out my blinged photo of when I had tea with the Duchess of York.
Oh,
It's my
wow.
Ooh,
invitation,
oh,
yes,
that's
and
awesome.
it's jeweled. Now I didn't put any pearls on here, but maybe I should add some. So I'll have to add some.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think so because that's very much a queen thing. A lot of like queens like Queen Victoria actually had a very small sort of subtle wedding ring that was shaped like a snake. So let's see if I can make it. You can't see it very well.
Oh, I can see it.
You
It's
see the
very
pearl right
sweet.
there? Can you see it?
Yes, I see the pearl. And what is that pearl like when you eat it? Can you eat it?
I can, but you know what it is actually? It's actually bubble gum.
It's a bubble gum ball. That's too
Actually
cute.
bubble gum. Here, I'll
You
put
know,
a
we
purple
used
one.
to have
I'll put
Pulpwood
a
Queen
purple
bubble
one.
gum
I'll put
years
purple so it
ago.
shows up a little better.
This is edible storytelling.
Edible storytelling, exactly.
Well, you could probably tint that pie pink with food coloring.
Oh, see? We've already improved on the recipe. That's the beauty of
Because
pie.
that's
You
how
can always
everybody can do it. Okay.
There's
It's
so much showing up.
beautiful.
But that's, this is a silver pearl, those grayer kind of, actually like those. I didn't do a very
Cultured,
good job, but I think if
cultured
we have a little
pearls.
time, we could decorate it. Yes, exactly.
Do you know that the famous Japanese family came to Texas because we had a lake form at Caddo Lake and it had its own Caddo pearls. And
Oh,
but there wasn't enough for production. But we do have pearls here in East Texas,
oh
and
wow.
they were at Caddo Lake, and somebody probably has some. But that's the coolest thing because it's so unusual. And we don't fit a mold. We're always
Yeah,
breaking the
right.
rules and everything. So
Here, I did a little more. There's always room for more whipped cream, don't you think?
and I bet if it tastes like lemon, it's kind of like probably like a lemon meringue or limey.
Should I taste it and see?
Yes, I want to
Yeah.
know what it tastes like. We're
Okay, I'm
going to
gonna
trust
put
your judgment.
Let me
Taste
see.
it because
And I'll tell you.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm just like starving now looking at it.
It's
thinking,
got an all butter crust.
It has an all what crust?
All butter crust.
Whoa.
Butter. I mean, butter's kind of a little bit of heaven,
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Comfort food for the soul.
Right? Here, let's put the here, I'll
Years
put-
ago, we had an author named Karen Stoltz that wrote World of Pies.
there, I put the pearl on the tip of the
Oh, that's so
show up very
beautiful.
well. It's sort of hard to get it to show.
Is that bubble gum too?
That's the bubble gum too, yeah. And you get to eat it, you get to chew gum at the end.
Kids would love it.
I guess
The
you could
the pie that keeps giving.
That's funny. So what's it taste
What is
like?
it? Yeah. It's very much like a custard, but it does have kind of a
Tangy?
honey, like a honey lemon flavor to it.
Honey lemon. How
I guess that there's so
interesting.
much sugar in it. It's got a lot of sugar.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I want to tell everybody because I've had diabetes. I don't have it now, but I was just going to share a couple of tips when you bake your pies.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of different flours right now. I discovered chickpea flour. Have
Oh,
you heard?
that's a good one.
It's really good. I made a Italian galette with the,
Hmm.
all different kinds of fruit in it, and it's kind of nutty. So it was kind of, and almond flour. I've used that before, and then I use, they tell you to use the same amount, but it's too sweet to me. I use like 1/4 of what they say for sugar,
Yeah.
and
That's
my
stevia,
family,
right? Is that the
yeah,
stevia
my
fruit?
I like the brown sugar and the white sugar, but my kids can't tell the difference. They
Yeah.
cannot tell the difference between that. So there is a way to make pie. All the pies I make are, as low in sugar as possible. But I created a drink to go with it. Now, I was thinking that we were going along the cranberry thing. So basically, what my drink is, pie is great with ice cream, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I took vanilla bean ice cream and I added neon pink food coloring to it and cranberries and white chocolate.
Wow.
And
There's no
then
sugar in that.
I would have put cream, but because I'm not really supposed to have that, I put in some coconut water and I blended it up with the cranberries. And then I don't know if you can see this, but I topped it with almonds.
Ooh, that's
And then
beautiful.
I had it in a glass thing, but I thought, oh no, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to drink this because it's kind of melted in that melty ice cream.
Yeah.
Mm, it tastes like a white chocolate, vanilla. You know those cookies that you make with cranberries and white chocolate?
Ooh,
Kind
yeah.
of tastes like that.
Yeah, I
And
like a nice tart.
but it's made with ice cream. So it's kind of melted a little bit, but it's the queen of everything, a drink to go with your what we're calling it, the Cleopatra pearl pie.
We have Cleopatra pearl pie. It's one queen. That's just one queen. There's a lot of queen pies that you could make.
Absolutely. Are you a pie baker, Anju?
I'm a pie eater.
We need you. We need you.
Now, what's your favorite pie, Amy?
Mine, well, I actually really love savory pies. So
I do too.
yeah, so I make salmon and portobello pie. That's my favorite one to make. And then of course the traditional chicken pot pie, but mine's a little more special. Because I've done a lot of different things with
I've
it.
never had salmon.
You've never had salmon and portobello pie? Well, that would actually be, so that's very British to have a fish pie. I grew up overseas, and so a lot of my like pie background was like fish pies or meat pies, like salteñas and empanadas, and then fish pie and stuff like that, and chicken pie, which is very American. But yeah, I make a salmon in portobello. It has a little bit of poached salmon, but then also hot smoked salmon, so it gets that smoky flavor in there too. And then I roast some portobellos and put that in there with a nice sort of cream sauce with some thyme, and also
I'm
kind of
coming to your house. If I ever get back out that way, I want to come to your house because
okay.
pie is like my favorite thing. But I'm like you, I like all different kinds. In England, I heard the food was terrible, but everything I had was delicious. But they make these little mince. I love mince pies. I like raisin pie. When we were in school, we had homemade raisin pie, and nobody wanted it. And so they would dump it all on my plate because I like the goo.
Oh
It
yeah.
comes
So
with the crust, but gooseberry and green tomato are my favorites
oh
because
yeah.
that's what they make in Kansas.
Hmm.
And do they make pie in the places that you've lived, Anju?
It depends. I mean, in India, it's really not a thing for pies, and in Singapore, not so much either. Um, it's very Asian. So I think pie is really an American British concept.
Hmm.
Although
But
that's what I'm kind of trying to study for like this thing, because I've realized that every
In
culture,
French.
while they don't call it a pie, it's
Right.
something in a pastry. So there's samosas, right? And or like empanadas and so
Yep.
every culture does something in a pastry. And I think it's because of that, like Kathy was mentioning earlier, you know, that's how they stored meat. Like that's how they would keep it fresh, is keep it in a pastry. And they didn't necessarily intend to eat the pastry, but now they're part of like home cooking. And so I want to do a collection of essays on all the different pies around the world.
Well,
So
you put this story in there about the Cleopatra pie?
I can, now that I've written this one, I think it should
I
go
mean,
in.
that is so fascinating.
I just, like I said, I was gonna do that cranberry lime Cosmo pie today, and then I don't know, I got inspired by Cleopatra because she just, it seemed like we were gonna have a queen, we should have a queen pie, you know? So
You
I
know,
mean,
you could probably do queens of, you know, around the world pies. That
right?
would
Oh,
be
there's some
interesting
great,
too.
great queens from India. You know, Anju can tell us about that, and I'm sure they had some sort of
Oh,
pastry
they led the regal life. They never stepped in the kitchen. They were always dressed to the nines. And, you know, the jewelry was just like blinging off them.
right?
If you watch any of the historical films. But I think like what you were going back to, for example, I think Kathy, when she brought up a chickpea flour, we use that a lot in Indian cooking. A
Yeah,
lot.
That's
right.
where I got it.
Yeah.
So
Was
it
That
could be a
because
dates back.
different pastry. Yeah.
Yeah, and the samosas, we use different pastries in the same format that you would use for a pie. The basics of butter, flour, sugar, or not sugar, salt. So we have the same basics as well, but the pastry is just treated differently, just a little different. That's
Yeah.
it.
In what way? Like how do
they
they treat
pat
it?
it out more and we roll it out, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
Sure.
ours is made more. So if you make a samosa pastry, it's made into a dough and that is rolled out. And you would add, you know, seeds like ajwain seeds, which is basically, it adds flavor and is good for digestion.
That's
And so
great.
you throw that into the flour. It gives the whole pastry a textury flavor as well.
Yeah.
So you're not just eating plain pastry. There's a zing to it.
Yeah. There's a
And
great recipe in my book. I actually I tell the story about going to Nepal and climbing Everest, to the Everest base camp, and how hard it was. And I write about, I do like I tell another story about, it's an embarrassing story, so I'll let people read the book. I mean, it was one of those moments where I was a fool, you know, a total fool. But so in that chapter, I use actually sort of, it's a fried pie, but I did sort of like a samosa or like a momo, you know, so I want like little country food like momos, and I did those
What's a
pastries.
momo? What's a momo?
It's kind of like, just like a little meat pie, but mine more like they come in these little, like, they look like dumplings, like a
yeah,
dumpling.
Oh,
But they're
okay.
fried, so it's a fried pie, or at least the ones I created or, you know, created. But then I did another pie, a Persian pie. Ooh, and there's some good queens too.
Yeah.
I think all these queens are coming up. And the Persian pie, I used I made it like a lavash crust, and it had all those spices, like you were talking about, like caraway seeds and all that stuff, like
Like
you were saying.
everything in bagel spices, you know, that kind of, oh,
Yeah, exactly. Everything. And it was like the best crust I ever made. Well, that and the sour cream crust for the salmon and portobello pie. We're all gonna be hungry when this
I can't wait. When's that book gonna come? We'll have to have you come back for that book. Is it
right.
also gonna be Andrews McMill book?
I don't know yet. I actually am it's still in the like planning stages, so I haven't prepared a proposal for it yet. But my fantasy was to prepare a proposal and then get some publisher to pay for me to go around the world and cook these pies in kitchens and then write an essay about it. That would be a tough sell. That would be expensive. But what I'm doing instead to start off is I actually teach a group of kids at the inner city here in San Diego. It's called Ocean Discovery Institute. And they're all young students learning, it's a STEM program. They're learning science and engineering, but I teach them personal essay writing because they kind of do an outward bound program in the summers that's kind of it's outward boundish, where they go down to the Sea of Cortez for 2 weeks and they learn about marine biology. Like they do sea turtle research, and they're just teenagers, like 6 years old, and they learn so much. But I work with them on writing their personal stories, and it's not just the stories about being there, it's about how their father's in jail, or you know, they're missing their brother they haven't seen in 6 years, or you know, all kinds of stuff. And these guys just like, I just get so infatuated with them. And so, but last summer when I was teaching one of the young girls, she came up and said, I was telling them about my book. And so I brought them all a copy of my book. And she said, my sister makes, she's from Ethiopia. And again, she's like, my sister makes pies, and they're kind of like some, in fact, I think they even call them samosas or something very similar. My sister makes samosas. They're like a pie. Can you make pies in my kitchen with my sister? And you can give me your pie recipe and we'll give you ours and we can make them together. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. I can go around the world right here. We have one of the largest refugee communities in the world in San Diego, and I can do it there. And I thought that would be wonderful, because that's what pie is all about, is building community. That's why it's round, so that you can make as many pieces out of it as you want. And everybody gets a slice of pie. So yeah, that's sort of where I am right now. And that's what I'm thinking about as what I'm gonna work. And so I think I mentioned to you before, Kathy, that November is NaNoPieMo, where for writers it's NaNoWriMo. And I make a pie a day, although this year I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to work with the community. And so I auction off my pies, and all the proceeds go to Ocean Discovery Institute.
That is awesome. You know, I used to live in San Diego. Did you know that?
Did you really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I went to Grossmont College. I lived in La Mesa. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's very close to me.
I loved it out there. It was really fun, but the only pie I ever ate out there was like fresh fruit. I don't ever remember anybody, a French fry or nothing like Southern.
No.
And when I came back here, I was just like, it was just kind of overwhelming, because everybody is very conscious of healthy eating and everything. And I'm still that way. I mean, I was always told at family gatherings, did you bring that marijuana salad again? And I go, what? And it's because I use spring mix.
Oh, right. You got the frisee and stuff in there. Yeah.
And I go, no, it's not. Well, you came from California,
Right,
marijuana.
right.
I go, I'm from Kansas, you all. I'm sorry, but you're missing me out here. But I love this, and I think you're onto something.
I think it's fun.
We need to start a Writing Pie Institute.
Oh, yeah, that would be great, right?
I mean, if we could get some kind of learning kitchen place where you could maybe bake pies at night and write during the day, and then at night you sit down and share the pie and share the story.
That would be great. Yeah, I do some writing retreats where I make pie. People come and they write, and I teach the writing craft courses. And then in the evenings, because they come for like a week, and then in the evening we eat the pie that I bake.
So where are they held?
Well, one of them is in France, so you can find it on my website. It's a French retreat. This will be the third year I do it this next year, and it's fabulous. It's in a chateau out in the country, and it's gorgeous, and we eat a lot of really wonderful stuff. The hostess that owns the chateau is just an incredibly wonderful, warm, charming, funny woman named Cynthia. And then an agent, April Eberhardt. She actually is like the main facilitator. She runs these, and these were all her idea, and she's friends with Cynthia. And so I co-facilitate the workshops and stuff with her. And we work with the participants on whatever writing they bring with them. And then I'm doing another one in Aspendell, California, which is in the Eastern Sierras. And that's just this October. We have 2 spots left. And that's a lot of great, because we do like whatever fruits available. We'll do like a pear pie, which is what we did last year, or an apple pie. I always do like a shepherd's pie because it's kind of cold, but in October, it's right when the aspens are changing color.
Oh, how beautiful. I know where that is.
Short, small hikes so that we burn off a little pie, and we write out in nature. We find there's this wonderful campground where we go and we get a big table and we do like writing exercises and writing prompts, and it's incredible writing outside, and it's just beautiful. The deer are right there. It's the fresh air, and then I have a couple others, so people can check out my website if they're interested, because I post there.
Tell everybody your website and I'll put it in the post when I recording this, and I'll put it up on the Pulpwood Queen channel, and then I'll share it with you. You can share it with everybody. It's up there forever. So anything where they can buy your book or get to you, tell us now.
Okay, sure. Yeah, actually, so my website is amywallen.com. You can buy my book anywhere books are sold. And you can also order it from your local independent bookstore, which I think is really important to support your bookstores. My local one is the Book Catapult, and they keep them in stock, and they'll be happy to ship it to you, or you can find your favorite one. It's also on Amazon and all those other places, independent bookstores, .com, whatever that one's called. And what else about my book? Oh, I'm going to be at the Albany Book Festival in September. If anybody out there is in Albany or in upstate New York, I'll be there. And I'm going to be in Albuquerque, also doing a book event with Judy Reeves, who also writes how to write books. And then she also has a memoir coming out, and she's fabulous. Everyone loves Judy Reeves. So she and I are doing a sort of a combination of come and find out about the writing life, and you can write a little bit with us, and then also just talk about writing life and our books and memoir. And what else do I have coming up? Yeah, and then the Pulpwood Queen, I'll be there. I'm gonna be so excited to come back to the
You're going to do a demo. So
yeah, fun.
it'll be a lot of fun. And
I was there
hopefully
so
by
long
then-
ago. I was young back when I was there the last time. I didn't have gray
Well,
hair.
weren't we all? But anyway, I will be doing the Zoom probably not from home. I'll probably be doing it over at in Tyler, because this is the internet is just not been working for some time, right, Anju? You've
Oh,
been
yeah.
on here and it drops, and it's so frustrating. But so far we're doing good now. But thank you so much for coming on board. For sharing your love of pie and love of helping people write their story. I mean, they say one out of every two people want to write a book. I think everybody wants to write a book now.
Oh yeah, no,
And everybody should, because if you don't write your story, it's a library lost to your family and friends, because nobody will ever really know your story. So I always tell people that when I do, speaking engagements, because I wrote a memoir and I'm working on the sequel, The Pulpwood Queen Goes Back to School, which is what I'm doing. But I love your book and I'm excited about it. I'm excited you're coming back to the Girlfriend Weekend, and we'll be sharing this post, and then you're going to be added to our reading list for 2024, like Anju. So you'll have a week in 2024. I'll get with you, and we'll schedule you to. You'll do the Tuesday night book club, and then you'll also you can post all week on our blog page, which is the Pulpwood Queen blog, and it's really up to you. People are so busy nowadays that I can't ask them to do it all week, but some go, yeah, I'll do it, but there's so much out there. I'm doing everything I can to get people discovered, but pie
you're
baking.
so generous. You're amazing with what you do for authors. Yeah, you're incredible.
She really is. She's
Well,
the author's biggest champion.
Yes.
it is my life's mission, because I tell everybody, if you read my book, you'll find out that book saved me, and it was my teachers who were my librarians that got me turned on to reading. And so read aloud to kids. It doesn't matter if they're your own, neighbor kids, grandkids, anytime you have an opportunity. And I bet if you bake pie, you will really get them there.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, it's always wonderful to talk to you. You're so much fun. And I think that it's great to make reading fun too, because it sometimes can be, people think of it as like something they had to do in high school, and it really can change lives. So I think
it really does. And it's building bridges around the world with all of our international authors, like Anju's stories, and she's American, but we all come from somewhere. So instead of looking at the differences when we read these stories, we go, well, wait a minute, that's the way we do it, and I'm inspired all the time by and when I don't know if you've had a chance to read Anju's book, but you can't put it down. It's really
I can't
incredible.
wait. Yeah, she's actually going to send it to me. I don't have it yet.
Okay. Well, Angie, do you have any remarks before we call it an evening and go? I'm going to finish my drink and drool about your pie.
I just think it's amazing how one is Amy's website. I love it. I visited, I fell in love with it, and I'm just like, it's not just books and I, me, myself. It's about a world that she's created and built on that website of food, editing, the pies, and she's sharing the love of food, and she's sharing the love of stories and her skills by offering these editorial services. And so you can see she has a heart of gold because it's not just about her work, it's about how she's spreading it out and helping others. And clearly she's got these workshops she's doing and all this other fun stuff around the world. And I think it's very inspiring for other authors to see that there's more that you can do with your writing and the craft besides just creating your own work and books.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
thank
it's
you. That's
author supporting authors. It really is. And there's another Queen story that I would like to share, Amy, because I'm trying to remember what was the thing that Queen Elizabeth had in what was it they had in England that you told me about, and then I watched it on Netflix, and your stepson was performing. What
I
was that? What
was
was that
wondering how
event?
you were going to slip that in.
I have to slip it in because I was rooting for him the whole time. Was he on
It
American
was the
Idol?
Jubilee. I think it was her Jubilee. Wasn't it her Jubilee?
Yes, it was her Jubilee, and
It
I
was Queen
ordered the
Elizabeth's
coffee
Jubilee.
mug and the traveling
And
lunchbox and everything. And you told me watch it, and you go look because I'm there, and I'm, of course, I'm not going to see you, but it was fantastic. But I was rooting for him. I really, he reminded me so much right off the bat, especially when he did Elvis, singing.
right in the
But
very beginning, yes, of American Idol, right?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
well, tell the world who your stepson is. It's just bizarre. It's so funny to me.
Well, my stepson is the multi-talented, amazing Adam Lambert, who is he's singing with Queen now, and Queen, the
Really?
Queen, like you said.
Queen, can you believe
And
all these queenly connections?
Oh
And
my gosh.
we even had a Bohemian Rhapsody themed girlfriend weekend.
ooh,
So
that would be a good one.
all sang it together at the end of the hairball. So,
Oh,
uh,
awesome.
oh, before everybody goes, I'm going to tell you because you guys, I've made a decision. The girlfriend weekend, I've been twice now to the Barbie movie, and Greta Gerwig just blew it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
Growing up on Barbie, and I know a lot of people say, Barbie's a stereotype that I don't write into, and I go, well, you know what? I don't think we need to judge anybody. And the way she handled this film made us realize that how important men are in our life and how important women are supporting women. So, our theme for our Friday night author meet and greet is Barbie Land. Come as your favorite Barbie. So you can be pie baking Barbie. You can be book club Barbie. You can be author Barbie. I'm going to be Pulpwood Queen Barbie. I think I've got another
Oh,
crazy idea because years ago at one of our girlfriend weekends, we did, it was one of the anniversaries. I don't remember which one it was, 25th or whatever. We had a Barbie party where everybody came as Barbies, and I went as Tippi Hendren Barbie because
Oh,
very first book I got ever signed was in California in San Diego by Tippi Hendren. And
wow.
loved the birds and Alfred
That's
Hitchcock.
amazing.
And
I have a picture of her in my rental cottage.
do you really?
With the crow sitting on, it's the Hitchcock scene where
I
she's
I
smoking a cigarette and the crow
yeah,
is like,
I love her. I read her Cats of Shambhala.
oh
And
yeah, she had a big,
she's
rescue
the
place.
animal rescue person, but I went as Tippi Hendren Barbie from The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock. So I
Yeah.
had found a sage green pencil skirt suit, and I put my hair in a bleach blonde beehive, and I had peck marks and birds sewn all over it. And it's
A little
still,
blood.
would you believe I have the Barbie? And it's got to be worth a fortune now. It's still in the original
Oh my
case.
God. Don't
I
tell
have.
people. They'll come and find it. That's like
Yeah, well, Barbies have gone up. I don't know if you've seen how much the Barbies are selling for, but
wow.
we're going to dress as Barbies. You can be India Barbie, Miss World Barbie. I don't, whatever. It's good, or you can be Timber Guy Ken. I mean, come on, we've got to make it equal for both sides. But on Saturday night for a hairball, because they play this in the movie, Cyndi Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. How
Mm.
come we've never done that? Girls just want.
Yeah, no, right. And your girlfriend.
So we're going to have lots of reasons to dress up. And let's think about how we could have a Pulpwood Queen, since we're not meeting in person. we probably need to make that happen when we actually do maybe our 25th anniversary. We could have a pie baking competition. I did this for World of Pies, and I remember Karen Stoltz, who wrote the book, she's passed away since then. She said, that was a big mistake because I had her judge the pie contest at our book club meeting, and we had 25 pies.
I've been a pie judge. It's hard.
It's hard because
It's hard.
she had
Like,
25 bites of different pies. And she goes, my next book, and she never made it to, well, she wrote another book, but it wasn't this. She said, my next book is going to be World of Champagne. She goes, that way, at least I'm getting all different kinds of champagne. She goes,
that's smart.
pie.
That would be smart.
You know, because, you know, eating all that pie, you know, that's
Yeah.
a lot of pie.
No, you
So,
can't. Yeah.
yeah, but we'll think of something, or maybe we can have everybody send in a recipe and you could test them out, and that's what we'll do.
That's a good idea because people come up with great creative ideas.
Well, like the Pillsbury Bake Off, you know,
right?
one of my authors, Catherine Michonne, did bake, you know, the pie, the Pillsbury, a takeoff on the Pillsbury Pie movie, and she starred in it, and she's from Minnesota, and she played a Minnesotan, but she had one of the contestants in the movie was Kathy Patrick, my other name. She goes, I needed another person. I thought, oh, make Kathy one of the contestants. So she had Kathy Patrick in this. I don't know what I made, but it had, she gave me the name card from the movie. I go, you are so funny. And she's married to Bruce Cameron, who does, you know, he did All the Ways to Date My Teenage Daughter. And then he went on to do the book about the dogs. It's Dog's Purpose, and all the, you know, Bruce is from Kansas too. So they've been here several times, never together. I keep working on that. So anyway, we will think about that. We'll put it to get something together and say, maybe you could do, write something up and I'll post it on our blog and say, if you'd like to enter this contest, send your recipe to Amy Wallen. And does it have to be an original recipe?
It should be, yeah, because I think that's only, and that's pretty easy to do. You just have to, you know, change. Like I
make up
Pulpwood
stuff
Queen,
I never make the same recipe twice.
right?
I mean, who puts coconut water in ice cream? It's delicious.
Sounds great.
You, you could
Maybe
put,
you could choose make the winner the Queen of Pies or something, or the Cleopatra of Pies.
The Cleopatra of Pies.
Yeah.
look like a pie
Banquet. You have
baker.
to have a pie banquet.
Yeah. Tie it in with your story.
That'd be great. We'll come up with something, Amy. Anju, thank you for coming.
Oh, you're
Everything
welcome.
going good today, and you're excited about your new book, and it's incredible for people who haven't read the Winds of Fire first book. The second one will be coming up, and it's gonna pretty much come out again at Girlfriend Weekend, right? The second one,
January 20th.
So yeah, so here we go, girls, and I'm so glad I got you connected, because how far apart do you live from each other?
About 5 hours.
Yeah.
5
Kind of big. Well, California is kind of big, but
Yeah, it's quite a drive.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, at least
We won't be having coffee real soon, but we might see each other at some point.
Who knows? We might just bump into each other on the way in and out sometime.
Right?
Well, if
Yeah,
it
we'll just
wasn't for
meet in
Anju,
LA.
Anju's the one that went to Lisa C's book signing. I said, tell Lisa I want her to come to Girlfriend Weekend. I've lost her email and she's coming. So
That's
Anju made that
awesome.
and
Oh,
so, and
thank
she,
you. That's
we'll
awesome.
see if she knows any Chinese pie recipes. I'm sure she is a good cook.
Well,
too.
they have those moon pies, moon cakes that they
Moon
make.
cakes,
I
yeah.
had that at book club one time. Somebody brought it. It is flourless, isn't it?
I think so.
How you make it?
I think so.
It
Yeah,
was
there's a
delicious.
special way they make it, and it's comes up on Chinese New Year. That's
Mm.
their specialty. So
Well, we're going to be celebrating all year long. So everybody out there in the Pulpwood Queen channel, get your copy of How to Write a Novel in 20 Pies at your favorite independent bookstore or favorite online bookstore. It's wonderful, wonderful pictures. Look at this pie that's stuck. It's got ice cream cones stuck in it. That seems like a good one. Oh, thank
It's
you.
a fun one. It's a fun
This
book.
was fun. I'm glad we did this. So I got my little roller. I'm going to be making pie, and you just have a wonderful night. And it's early there. It's time for me to go to bed.
Yeah, right. I know. And I'm sure you're exhausted after school. That's so fantastic you're doing that.
Yeah,
Love
that's amazing.
I
Really
have
good.
3 days off, and I'm going to be catching up on ahead on homework, and I'm doing some painting too. So
that.
thank you.
Fun.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep it going.
Okay.
I always say 5 diamonds in the Pulpwood Queen tiara, but because of Amy, I'm going to say, and a big giant pearl.
Big Pearl. That's right.
Big
Right.
pearl. Okay.
Cleopatra
You're
Pearl. All right. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you
Bye,
so
everybody.
much.
Bye,
Bye,
Angie.
bye, Anju. Talk to you
Bye,
soon.
Amy. Bye, Kathy.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.